Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is how you can fly when you haven't identified the area you need to fly. So for example, if you want to go and map out the extent of a flooded area, if you don't know the extent of the flooded area, you can't pre-plan to do that. So Dronelink has got a great feature that it can do, which is called on-the-fly mapping, which lets you figure out the perimeter that you need to map while you're in the air. So you can actually see what you see from the air and use that to define the boundaries. So to give that a quick go, I'm going to turn on the drone again. And the controller. And I'm going to open up my Dronelink app. Right, so at the bottom of the screen you can see there's a little on the fly button over here. So we're going to hit on the fly. And on the fly you get a number of different choices, and I want to do an on the fly map. There we go. And you'll see there's instructions on the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to get started. And now it says fly to 3 or more boundary points and mark the location. So obviously the first thing is to take off. So I'm going to climb to 60 meters for this flight. And I'm going to use the boundary of the water over here, part of it. So I'm not going to fly around the whole of the ocean. But what we'll do is we'll pretend we're at the start of the flood. Alright, so you get to altitude you need to be at, and you get to where you want to be. So I'm going to mark the first point over here, I'm going to hit the mark button. There we go. Now every time you turn, you want to add another mark. So we're going to mark another one there. So there's a little bit of a flooded area there. Right, the Mini 2 does like to jump its camera up, so you want to keep the camera straight down so that you know when you're at the point. We're going to mark. We're going to turn again. We're going to fly along this flooded area. There we go. Alright, we'll call that the end of the flooded area over there. Let's go a little bit further. We're going to add another mark. And I'll turn the drone to the right now. And we'll keep going. Nice and easy. We'll follow the flood. This drone is so quiet you barely hear it. And it's not very far, it's only 120 meters from us. Moving along quite nicely. Alright, so we're going to use that pier as the end of this flood so we don't have to keep flying throughout this whole marina or bay. Alright, so we're going to turn again. Now I've got a mark because I've turned. There we go. And now we want to go down. Alright, keep following. Now we're going to pretend the pier goes all the way to the other side, which we know it doesn't, but just pretending. Alright, so we found some land over there, so we'll say, okay, that's the end of the flooded zone. And we're going to mark. We're going to turn. We're going to follow the land again. Okay, you can see it's turned out a bit, so we'll put a little mark. We'll move a bit to the left as we go forward. You can put as many marks as you like, so we'll make another mark. Keep going. Okay, that's clearly the end of this flood. So we'll stop there and we'll put another mark. And we're going to turn to the right. And we'll keep going down until the drone is over ahead of me, which is about now. And we'll put our last mark down and we'll hit next. Now it asks you what you want to capture, and I want to capture photos, so I'm going to go next. Do you want to see advanced settings? I always like to see advanced settings. So we're going to go next. What's the fastest speed? I generally trust the judgment of the defaults here, so we'll leave it at 29. Front overlap doesn't influence flight time, so we'll leave it there. Side overlap, let's take it down to 65. Next, and pattern, I want to do a normal 2D mapping. Mapping direction we can leave as default, and camera angle I'll leave facing straight down. And I can name this mission. This is flooded area. Next. Alright, I've named it. It's showing me the boundary points. It's showing me all the different options. I'm happy with everything. Continue. And as you can see, it's created a mapping flight of that area, and because of that, I'm just going to hit the play button.
3, 2, 1. Starting mission.
Now, at this point, the mission is actually starting in the air. I could have flown the drone back home. I could have put it on the ground. I could have put a fresh battery in. But it's quite a short mission. It's only 3 minutes 14, so I know I don't need to change batteries. So we'll let the drone do its thing. Now, at this altitude, it would be pretty pointless of me actually pointing to the drone. I'll try anyway. No, I can see it. I can see it, but I don't think the camera will see it. So look at the pilot instead. And again, we could pause this if we wanted to. We could bring the drone home. We could change batteries. We could descend to just over the water. Now, water is incredibly difficult to process because it's constantly moving. If the water is very clear and you can see straight through it, you can actually map the area below the water. But normal water would be very, very difficult unless it's a windless day. You have similar problems with trees as well, if the trees are blowing in the wind, but not nearly as difficult as with water. We'll give it a go anyway, we'll see how it looks, but if I don't show it to you, it's because we've got an outline of the water and a big giant hole in the middle. I might just speed this up when we are doing the processing later, so you might hear me speaking in garble tones.
Mission stopped. 3, 2, 1. Starting mission.
So I turned around briefly, and I think some of the steel in here interrupted the drone's flight. So as a precaution, I just stopped the drone dead in the air, and I had to make sure I was facing the drone again, and I am, it's up there, and it just carried on. It's a scorchingly hot day, but hopefully a little bit cooler in the air where the drone is. One of the things I like about this drone is just how small this backpack is. It's very easy to take with you when you're traveling. We can put the drone in here, the controller in here. I can actually carry 9 batteries and 3 charging hubs in here, which means that if we carry a little solar panel with us and another backup battery, we can fly literally as long as the sun is shining. The Mini 2 is a fantastic little mapping drone. A lot of people don't know it, and in fact most people who looked at the usual mapping apps wouldn't even know it's possible, because you can't map on it with Pix4D or Dronelink or Drone Deploy. So it's only people who are aware of Dronelink who know
Mission
that.
accomplished.
There we go. Mission's done. Drone will be coming back automatically to me. I took off on this little path over here, so I'm absolutely going to be doing a manual landing now. because with any inaccuracy it's going to put the drone in the water. So as you can see, it's 100 meters away, 80 meters, 70. It's flying at 38 kilometers an hour, straight above me now. So I'm going to hit the pause button, the beeping should stop, and I'm going to land it. In fact, I might even catch it instead of landing it. There we go. So when you catch the little mini drone, it's got little sensors on the bottom, so it won't let you catch it from directly underneath. Now the one thing you should do is you should never fly it into your hand. You always want to reach out for the drone, but you'll see the sensors here send the drone up. So if you want to catch this drone, next to where it's written 249 grams, that's where you hold it. And it's very cute, it's very nice to catch. Alright, so that's all. Let's go back inside and let's see what's come up over there. So I've shown in a number of other videos on how you upload the images and start the processing. In this case, I'm going to skip all of that and we'll go straight to what the data looks like. There were 58 pictures taken. It took me just 31 minutes to process, and the average pixel size on the screen is just under 2.1 centimeters. Now, I did say how difficult it is mapping water, but let's go and have a quick look. And as you can see, it's actually done the job incredibly well. So I have to give some props here to the guys from the Open Drone Map team. They've done a very, very good job. I suspect it's because the water was partially see-through, so you could see through into the bottom. But the quality has come out very nicely. I'll zoom in on a couple of these birds here. You can see how nice and crisp and clear they are. Let's go and look at one of the jetties. There we go. We've got some objects on the jetty. You can even see the grid lines and that. So the quality is outstanding. The drone flew the map very well, and all in all, I'm incredibly happy with the way this turned out. And yes, there isn't any other drone mapping software where you can actually plan your flight area while you're busy flying. It's hugely valuable, particularly if you get to an area and you need to map something and you're not quite sure where it is or what it is. So the example in our case would be of a flooded area, but perhaps you've got something else, or somebody's given you an idea and said, I need you to map a portion of my farm, and you're not sure what that portion is until you get there. Dronelink is absolutely the software for you. That's all for today. Thanks very much for watching.